And I certainly hope he's awake now because we're going to invite him to come in here and talk with us. Stephen K., say hello to everyone.
How y'all doing? It's good to be on here with you guys tonight.
Great to have you here. Thank you for dropping by today and sharing your music with us. And you're on a little bit of a roll right now. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But first, I want to do as I do with most of the artists who come on here their first time anyway, and that is familiarize the audience, if you would, please, with who Stephen K. is. Let them know, where you came from, how you got to where you are today.
Well, I've been performing professionally in country music and everything since the age of 8. The first time that I'd ever been on stage professionally was with one of my mentors, the great Charlie Daniels. And that was a wonderful time in my life. And country music has been a huge part of my life since I was very, very young. So it's something I've always loved, something I've always enjoyed. Tells a story.
Yeah, just another typical overnight success, right? You sound like you're a little bit beyond 8 years old now, so I have to assume that it's not an overnight success story, but that's a heck of a way to start. I mean, when you get your first appearance on stage with a person like Charlie Daniels, that's got to be a moment you treasure the rest of your life.
It is. It's one of those things where I had a wonderful music teacher in grade school, and her family just happened to be friends with Charlie Daniels, and he was coming through for our county fair that year, and she called up and asked if I could be up on stage with him, and he allowed me to do that, and that's a day I'll never forget because I was scared to death.
I'm sure you were, and that is really something. By the way, just have to ask this: any chance you saved a picture of that or anything?
There probably are some pictures around in my family's archives on that one. That's probably something I could dig up because I know there were some taken. That was in 1979.
That's one of my biggest regrets in my years in the business is the pictures I didn't take or get taken. While I haven't, met every big name there is in the business, I've met some people that I'll always have memories of, and I would love to have had some pictures with many of them. Some of them I do have pictures of, but it's one of those things. We have the technology. It's not rocket science, and it's good to do it if you can. I mean, John and I, who've been in radio so long, we've been talking about the stations we worked at, and we didn't even get a picture of us working the studio. So it's you can't win them all, that's for sure. John Bon Jovial, speaking of you're sitting there all together too quiet. I know you want to get in here.
Well, yeah, and I'm, I agree with you. We've worked in some absolutely, stellar radio stations in some good markets, and I only have just not even a handful of pictures of me on the air back in the early 70s, and I do regret that. But Stephen, welcome to the show. It is great to have you on with us. It's good to hear your music. Well, and I mean that. I really am glad that you're taking some time out of your schedule to be with us. You mentioned Charlie
Charlie Daniels.
Charlie
yes,
Daniels. Yeah. My apologies on that. Yeah, Charlie Daniels. We've had him on the show. Of course, unfortunately he's passed, so that won't happen again. But we've had him on the show, 3 times, I think?
2 or 3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy to talk to.
And
great man.
Great guy to talk. He really, he was a wonderful, marvelous human being. Give you the shirt off his back. He really was.
He and I share one personal trait together outside from our love to music and anything else we might. And I remember this because it's a trait that I have fostered for many years, and that is the fact that Charlie Daniels, you do not ask him his opinion of anything unless you really want it, because he will tell you. He doesn't pull punches.
That is an absolute fact.
He doesn't pull any punches. That is for sure. But I want to talk to you for just a moment about I Woke Up Wanting You. I'd like to know where the song came from, what the inspiration for it was, because I'm listening to it and I'm hearing the obvious country influence, but I don't know if anybody's said anything to you about it. But your vocal on there, to me, is very reminiscent of Stephen Bishop, and I don't know if anybody's ever said that to you before, but it works out very well. And so what were your influences on this song? Where did it come from?
I wanted to take and mix country music and give it kind of that old school feel where, you get the Roy Orbison vibe in there, you get all of that. It was just kind of a twist I wanted to do on a country song, and it turned out just absolutely beautiful with the finished product. It's one of those things that you really don't know what you're going to get until you get to the end of it and you get that finished cut of the song, and you're like, that laid in there just kind of like I wanted it to. You got that country
really
music feel. Oh man, and then you got the Roy Orbison type feel in there and a little bit of the old school country feel, and it's a lot of fun when you get to do something like that. And
I picked up on the old school, the old school country feel of it. I mean, that was very evident. I mean, the guitar work, the picking on that. I'm hearing strains in there of some of the stuff that Waylon Jennings had done early on in his career, and also hearing some of the the backup band, if you will, from Mel Tillis. It really seems to me that you can tell which school you went to, and that's the old school, and that's the best school for country as far as I'm concerned.
Boy, it is too. It's country music is just it's taken a turn, and not a good one. But the nice thing about it is there's a lot of artists trying to bring it back to where it was at.
Both true, yes. We've talked about this on the show several times too, and the difference between today's modern country, arena country now, and of course classic country as we know it. And you're right, it always keeps coming back, and sooner or later another major artist will pop up who just dwells on the roots of country music and becomes a monster success, and the pendulum will swing back that way. You've got your own pendulum swinging for you. As I understand it, you've got a music video in the top 16 of the top 20 right now, and your new single is at number 25 in the top 40, I believe.
It is, and as of today, those numbers just shifted, which is kind of exciting. My music video just hit number 3 in the top 20, and my new song just jumped up to number 18.
And your new song is?
In the top 40. It's called Turn It Up. It was produced by Hall of Fame record producer Doc Holliday here in Nashville, where I happen to be sitting right this moment.
And I will say, having heard the track already, I will say that it is one kick-ass track. And this is going to wake you up, John Bon Jovial, if you're falling asleep there. He's going to wake you up here because we're going to play the new track right after we talk with Steven. So you can get ready for that one.
I want to jump in here for just a second. Sure. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Dave, but, we were talking earlier about Music Row in Nashville and how it seems to have shifted out to, the Opryland area. And so since you're right there in Nashville, Steven, what has become of Music Row, and how has it affected places like Ernest Tubbs Record Shop? We
were just down there here recently, and the beautiful thing about that is since it has shifted down towards that area, you're seeing more and more people getting to go into Ernest Tubbs Record Shop. You're seeing a lot more stuff going in there, and the younger generation is getting to see what country music came from, the roots, the sounds, the outfits, everything. So it's actually giving a younger generation a chance to get in there and see those things where normally they wouldn't. So you get those crowds of people down there, and they get to go in and see stuff from Loretta Lynn, Tubb, George Jones, Hank Williams Sr., all of that stuff. And it's an amazing thing to watch the reactions as they go in there, because they've got this preconceived notion of what country music is right now, but not what it was and where it came.
Yeah, that's true. I can see what you're saying.
That shift is cool.
I was there a long time ago. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten back there. I was there back in what I think was the last year before they moved the Opry out to Opryland, and I got to do Music Row. I got to do the Ryman Auditorium, and, you know, Nashville the way it was. And I've heard from many people that the city has changed, and like every change, it's some good, some bad. I want to thank you for your observations. Now, you've just come out with this latest release, Turn It Up, which we're going to be playing here in a couple of minutes. Tell us about the song.
Now, that song it's one of those songs where it's a feel-good song.
Definitely.
You know, it's based off of my experiences as I was coming up through the little clubs and honky-tonks and everything that I've played. And the reactions you get from people as they are either entering the club or just having a good time out on the floor. And one of the really cool things about this song is got to work with the legendary Jim Horn, the famous saxophone player. And Jim he's the best. He's the best there is out there. He's played for everybody.
Yeah, he definitely
and
is.
have him play on my music video and everything, and have him play on the song was a dream come true. You know, and I got to spend some time in the studio with the legendary Becky Hobbs too. Wow. You're probably familiar with one of her songs, "Angels Among Us," that Alabama picked up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And Becky is wonderful. She was cutting her new single while I was in doing mine. And so I got to spend some time with Becky Hobbs and everybody. So
you've gotten to make many great connections, and apparently you're making the most of it. I think that is wonderful. You are keeping in touch with these people?
Oh, absolutely, on a daily basis.
I would definitely hope so. I know I do myself. I try to keep in touch with a lot of the key movers and swayers that I've come into contact with, and I know, among others, the Oak Ridge Boys, especially Joe Bonzel, who has been a professional friend of mine since we've met, and Dwayne Allen, also of the Boys. All four of the guys are just great guys, and we do keep in touch. So, yeah, absolutely, got to do that. That's a must-do thing, and I understand what you're saying. Again, from having listened to Turn It Up, you're exactly right. The guy comes in, goes up to the bar, grabs himself a drink. The band is just coming on and playing, and he's out there. Come on, turn it up. Let's do this thing. Let's get it going. And this song does do that. I'll warn you guys ahead of time, listeners, and you, John Bon Jovial, he's going to crank it on this thing. Now, before we let you go, Steven, want to give you a chance to sell yourself and your music. Tell the folks how they can find you online, follow you, get in touch with you, of course, get your music too.
Well, you can get my music on pretty much any major outlet online. If you download music, Apple Music, Google Music, iHeartRadio, of course, YouTube. My music videos up there for Turn It Up. You can visit me on my website at Steven K Music on Facebook, on Instagram. It'd be Steven K on Instagram. You can hit me up on there. Same thing on Twitter. I'm trying to keep everything updated as I go along, because I've got some really good shows coming up where I get to play some music with some fun people like Travis Tritt and with Blake Shelton and several other guys. So there'll be stuff going across the line about that here soon, and it's a lot of fun. And it's one of those cool things that we get to do. So check the music out and check the schedule out online. And like I said, I try to update everything that we're doing, because we're in Nashville now. We're actually moving to Tennessee, so this is going to be a fun thing. We're in transition from our ranch over in Oregon to Tennessee. So
sounds exciting. Now, don't you forget, with stuff coming up, don't you forget my Facebook groups page, The David Bowers Awards, where you can post all your information, your play dates, tours, new music, whatever you want to share. You can go on there. You don't need a press release. Post it right directly yourself, and we'll pick it up and spread it around to our other social media sites. Keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen.
You guys are fantastic.
Oh, our pleasure. You are too.